I'm very excited to welcome in someone who's been very much in the news. Deepwater Wind CEO Jeff Grybowski is around the corner. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to have you back in the studio here. Last time you were with CEO Josh Fenton for Business Monday, but I'm bringing you in on the news side of things. So you want to pick your brain about the business side of things, the news side of things. Featured in a city commercial that's been airing. When did you find out that you were going to be featured?
We found out from City, it was quite a while ago because the production actually takes quite a long time to put everything together. So we've been working on this for at least 6 to 9 months now.
And so, you watch the commercial, and part of it is how the project was conceived, kind of implemented, and how influential City was in getting this project off the ground. I mean, did they really call you in because they said, hey, this is a success story?
Yeah, we've been working with Citibank for several years now, and this was a project that they were really excited about. And we were really proud to have Citibank work with us. It was a really important partnership between us. So the more that folks at Citi learned about the project, they got really jazzed up about it. So we were really happy for them to give us a little free PR.
It was a great commercial. You're walking along the beach. You're walking next to the lighthouse.
You didn't see me stumbling across the rocks because we took that take about 150 times before I got it right.
You got a little taste of how film production's made.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's on Go Local site. Wanted to bring you in, obviously, here in Rhode Island, big news, kind of folks know about Deepwater Wind, but you're looking larger than Rhode Island.
We are.
And talk to us about the Revolution Wind play that you're looking up in Massachusetts, where you're at in that, with the application, and what that could possibly mean.
Sure. Well, our plan has always been to develop a series of offshore wind farms off the coast of New England. Our next effort here is a project that we're calling Revolution Wind, which we've proposed to the state of Massachusetts, but it's a project that we can expand over time. And ideally, we would build turbines that would serve Massachusetts, that would serve Rhode Island, that would serve Connecticut, that would serve even New York. So it's a project that we can scale up or down, and the proposal that we made in Massachusetts was in response to an RFP that the state put out looking for new sources of energy, and we think a wind farm is a great new source of energy.
Time frame, when do we expect to hear from Massachusetts on a decision?
Yeah, I think Massachusetts is making a decision by the end of the year, and so we're really excited, very hopeful. And this is a project, as I said, that we can build out over time, add turbines over the next several years, up to even a decade, and build this project out until we've built a really large project that can serve the entire region.
And talk to us a little bit about, you responded to the RFP and you gave them, a number of variations if they wanted to go smaller, if they wanted to go bigger. If you were to be successful in getting this project, getting this up in Massachusetts, how many jobs could this mean for New England simply through Deepwater?
Yeah, so for instance, for the Block Island project, we employed about 300 or so folks, and that's for a pretty small project for only 5 turbines. So this Revolution Wind project, which at its small size could be 3 times the size of Block Island, at its larger size could be 20 times the size of the Block Island project, could obviously mean thousands of jobs.
Yep.
So the great thing about wind is it's scalable. You can build 1 turbine, or you can build 100 turbines, and we can go up or scale it back, or build it over time, depending on what the states are looking for. So unlike other types of power plants where you basically have to build the whole plant at once, and the plants come in sort of one size, wind turbines, like solar projects, are scalable up or down, and that's one of the advantages that those projects have.
And how key was the sort of battery component to it, the storage capacity to say?
Well, we're super excited about working on battery technology, and it is the next big thing in the energy sector in general. And so we're working with Tesla, and you may have heard of them. In addition to making cars, they also make batteries for people's homes, and they make bigger battery systems that work for the entire electric grid. So we're partnered with Tesla on this proposal, and so we would build an offshore wind farm, and that wind farm would plug into the electric grid on shore. And then at that spot where we plug the wind farm into the grid at a substation on shore, we would build this battery system in partnership with Tesla. And those Tesla batteries will get charged up by our wind power, mostly at night when the grid doesn't need a whole lot of energy. And then in the middle of the afternoon on a hot day like this, when everyone's using air conditioning, or in the middle of the winter when when we really need a lot of power because it's so cold, we discharge the batteries and we supplement the power that's coming from the wind farm. So it's the next big thing in the energy sector, big battery technology. And this would be the biggest combination of offshore wind and batteries in the world. So we're really proud of that and really, really excited about the opportunities that merging these two things together will have.
So how did that come about? How did you get a hold of Tesla?
Yeah, we've been working on battery technology for a number of years and have worked with a couple different companies because it's a really new field. And there aren't many energy companies that are doing batteries on a big scale yet. And frankly, the fact that electric cars are such a big thing now in the automotive industry is causing all of these battery manufacturers to invest in the technology. And so that technology that they're using for cars is the same technology you use in power systems. So we've been working with a handful of different battery companies over the years just to understand the technology. And one of those companies that we reached out to a number of years ago was Tesla. And so we've gotten to know them, we get to know their technology, and they've got a great product and a great technology. So this is, I think, a great application offshore wind with this new batteries that they're now deploying.
So you're looking at Massachusetts, also looking at Long Island.
Right.
What's the play down there?
Yeah, so on Long Island, we're actually building what will be the second offshore wind farm in the United States. We have a contract with the utility out on Long Island. It's called the Long Island Power Authority. And they've asked us to build a project that's about 3 times the size of the Block Island wind farm. So we are fully in the middle of that project right now. We have a big vessel offshore as we speak today, and they are scanning the seabed right now, looking for good places to put the cables that we're eventually going to lay for that project. So that project will be online probably around 2022,
okay.
And we'll start building it around 2019.
And what are the lessons that you've learned so far from Block Island? I mean, did it go smoothly from point A to point B?
I wish.
I mean, I don't want to say, what would you do differently, but what did you learn? What were sort of the things along the way that you said, oh, wow?
Yeah, well, certainly, it was the first of its kind. It was the first offshore wind farm in the United States, and it was necessary for us as an industry, not just for Deepwater as a company, but the entire industry, to get some kind of project up and running because it's the first of its kind. So we learned a lot of lessons along with government agencies who'd never looked at an offshore wind before. So, people complain about how hard it is to build things or do things new. Imagine how hard it is to build something new when the government agency that you're going to ask for permission from has never even seen one of these things before. So there are a lot of lessons learned, not just from us, not just by Deepwater. We certainly have learned a lot of lessons, but all of the stakeholders and agencies who are involved. Going through it the first time takes a lot longer than going through it for the second or third time, we hope.
So here we are today, it's Wednesday. As you know, yesterday the PUC approved a rate hike for National Grid. A lot of times folks ask, renewables, isn't that making things more expensive? What do you say to folks when they ask you that?
Yeah, in the long run, the answer is no. What's really happening here, I think the real story behind the National Grid rate increase is the fact that we actually don't have enough energy in New England. And that was simply an issue of supply and demand. We still need a lot of energy to keep the lights going, but the number of power plants that are supplying energy in New England has decreased over the last few years. And if you project out a few years, the number of new power plants is actually going to continue to go down. So we actually have a lack of supply of energy in New England. And so we need to fix that. So that really comes to a bunch of choices. What are we going to build? And as we build new stuff, pricing will come down because we'll have more supply. We think that offshore wind is going to play a big role there. Solar is going to play a role. New natural gas plants will play a role. Hydropower will play a role. It'll all be part of the mix. The problem is we haven't built that stuff yet. So we're going to see some of these variations, these fluctuations in pricing, until we actually start building the next big round of power projects in New England.
And you say, focusing on New England, is there any potential to get outside the region?
Yeah, we're always looking. We haven't announced anything, but there certainly are lots of opportunities to build offshore wind, and we're also building some solar projects, and those are things that we're always looking for new opportunities for. Our goal is to be one of the great clean energy companies in the United States, and we're focused on these projects that we're building right here in the Northeast, but that's not the extent of our aspirations.
So I dragged you into the studio here to give us an update. Again, we see you on TV all the time in the city commercials. Anything else with Deepwater that you want folks to know as we stand here talking about Long Island, talking about Massachusetts.
Yeah.
What do you want folks to know?
Yeah, so folks are going to hear a lot more about offshore wind in the coming years, and we have big plans for Rhode Island as well. We think Rhode Island is perfectly positioned for a lot of the jobs that we want to create in this industry. We've got great port facilities, we've got great researchers at URI and other places, and this is going to be a really, really big industry, not just for Rhode Island, but for the whole region and really the whole United States. And Rhode Island should be proud of the fact that it's really at the cutting edge here. We're at the very beginning.
Well, we're going to, follow what's going on down Long Island. We're going to keep an eye on what's happening up in Massachusetts because, as you said, the potential for jobs could be huge.
That's right.
You said 300 at Block Island. If at the smallest level, 3 times that. At the largest level, could be 20 times that.
That's right.
That's a lot of jobs.
It's a lot of jobs.
Well, Jeff Grybowski with Deepwater, I appreciate your coming in today to give us an update. We'll talk with you soon.
Great to be here.
Let you go off to the races.
Awesome. Thanks
We'll
a lot.
talk soon. Okay,
Goodbye.
Jeff Grybowski, thank you. Jeff Grybowski with Deepwater Wind. He's been here in studio in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center talking on the business side of things with CEO Josh Fenton. Wanted to bring him back in to get an update of what's taking place there. If you've seen the city commercial who they had partnered with for to finance the project here in Rhode Island, very visible feature getting a lot of national play, talking about their look at Massachusetts called Revolution Wind, a large-scale project that could mean as many as 20 times the jobs here in Rhode Island, which he said was 300. So do the math, could end up being a lot of jobs, but they are focused down in Long Island getting that project underway. Wanted to get him in studio, get the take of what's going on. So Jeff Grybowski with Deepwater Wind, appreciate your